Good morning. As I was discussing about the introduction of science in the last class, I have told you what exactly science means and what are scientific methods. See, I have told you scientific method is a systematic and an organized way of studying a natural phenomena. Suppose you are studying about some natural phenomena, say uh, flow of heat between two objects. You need to follow certain steps to understand why heat flows from one body to the another body in a systematic manner. In order to understand the flow of heat between two bodies, you need to follow certain steps in an organized manner. Only then you will be able to understand that phenomena of flow of heat between two bodies in a proper way. And I have told you what are the scientific methods that we follow. We'll very quickly recall the scientific methods that we follow to understand a natural phenomena. See, I have told you this introduction to science and the scientific methods are involved in the first chapter of physics, that is physical world, right? So this will be our first chapter, and this chapter is totally regarding the introduction to science and physics, right? So there is no deep discussion about any topic in this chapter. Instead, in this chapter, they are trying to give you a brief understanding about what you are going to study in the course of these 2 years. ಈ 2 ವರ್ಷದೊಳಗೆ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ನೀವೇನು ಓದ್ತೀರಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, right? There is no detailed description about anything. The detailed description about each and every point that we come across in this chapter will be done in the separate units of physics, right? So we'll try to understand what is meant by scientific method. See, I have already told you what is meant by science in the last chapter, last class. Science is nothing but a systematic study of nature and the natural phenomena, and use the knowledge so gained to predict, modify, and control the phenomena. I have told you how to predict, how to modify, and how to control the phenomena in my last class. So with that understanding, we'll now try to understand what is meant by scientific method. See, scientific method is a systematic and an organized way of studying a natural phenomena. So, scientific method is a systematic and an organized way of studying a natural phenomena. In order to understand any phenomena that is occurring in nature, you need to follow certain organized steps, and you need to understand that phenomena in a systematic manner, right? Only then it is said that you have understood that phenomena scientifically, right? ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾಮನ್ ಲೇಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಒಂದು ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಬಹಳ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, right? See, there are so many interconnected steps in scientific methods. So if we look at what are the steps involved in scientific method, there are about 6 steps involved in scientific method. Sir, scientific method ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರಿ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ಡ್ ವೇ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರಿ. ಹೌ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ಡ್ ವೇ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎನಿ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆನ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ಡ್ ವೇ, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ ಸರ್ಟೈನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್. ಒಂದು ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ ಸರ್ಟೈನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ನೌ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಆ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರೆಯೋ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. should have performed or should have followed the steps which we are now going to write. Only then you can claim that you know that phenomena scientifically, right? So steps involved in scientific method. See, there are about 5 to 6 interrelated steps involved in scientific method. The first step that is involved in scientific method is the systematic observation. Systematic observation. See, as a science student, you must have the attitude of observing any phenomena that is occurring around you keenly. ಬಹಳ ಕೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ನಿಮ್ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ನೇಚರ್ ನಾಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you must have the attitude of observing that phenomena very keenly. Suppose there are two objects here, say A and B. Suppose there are two objects A and B. Let us suppose body A is at a temperature of 35 degrees Celsius and body B is at a temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. Let us suppose the body A is of copper and body B is also of copper. And if they are connected by a metal rod, suppose this is a metal rod. Suppose this is a metal rod. See, this is a body at higher temperature and this is a body at lower temperature, and those two are connected by means of a metal rod. If this is done, you see that as the time elapses, time adangala, the body A start losing heat and its temperature goes on decreasing. On the other hand, the temperature of the body goes on increasing. The temperature of body A goes on decreasing and that of the temperature of body B goes on increasing. This will be generally observed. Idamele, suppose you have other two objects, say X and Y, made of iron. Both X and Y are made of iron, and suppose body X is at a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius and body Y is at a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. Suppose X and Y are also connected by means of a metal rod. Suppose X and Y are also connected by means of a metal rod. You again observe that heat flows from X to Y. Illi kuda the heat was observed to flow from A to B. So what you observed is, whenever two objects, say copper and iron, were connected by means of a metal rod, it was observed that heat is flowing from the body at higher temperature to a body at lower temperature. This is your observation, right? You need to observe this. After you have done the systematic observation, after you have observed this phenomena, you have to go for you have just observed, that's it. What you have observed, when two bodies at different temperatures, body A was at a temperature of 35 degrees Celsius and body B was at a temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. When two bodies at two different temperatures are connected by means of a metal rod, you observe that heat is flowing between them. Sumne idu node hogubitre, you do not become a science student. Heat is flowing from body A to body B or body X to body Y. Mugit ishte hogubitre, you are not a science student. You should start analyzing it. Why heat is flowing from body A to body B? Why heat is flowing from body X to body Y? That must be analyzed. See, had analyze ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. This is the observation. After this, you must go for experimentation. After you observe any phenomena, you must go for experimentation. You must go for experimentation. See, what is to be experimented? What is to be experimented? What is to be done in this case is, once you have observed heat is flowing from body A to body B, body X to body Y, you should observe what is the nature of body A and body B. See, body A and body B are both made up of copper. You know, copper is a metal. What you do is, you take two other metals. Say M and N. Let us suppose these two bodies are made up of, say, brass. This is of brass and even this is of brass. Maintain this body M at a temperature of, say, 50 degrees Celsius and maintain this body at a temperature of, say, 20 degrees Celsius. Connect these two bodies by means of a metal rod. You do this in the laboratory. You experiment it. ಬರೇ ಬಾಡಿ ಎ ಬಾಡಿ ಬಿ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೀಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೀಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದ, ಅಥವಾ ಎಂ ಅಂಡ್ ಎನ್ ಮಧ್ಯೆನೂ ಹೀಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದ, ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು, ರೈಟ್? You connect these two bodies by means of a metal rod and note down your observations. When body M and body N are connected by means of a metal rod, heat again flows between them. You continue your experimentation with the non-metals. Say you take two pieces of wood. Now we call them as insulators. We call them as P and Q. You take two pieces of wood, heat them. Let us suppose this is at a temperature of 51 degrees Celsius and let this be at a temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. Let this be at a temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. Connect them by means of a rod. See whether heat flows between them or not. See whether heat flows between them or not. These are heat insulators. Wood is a heat insulator. Connect them by means of a metal rod and see whether heat flows between them or not. You observe that no heat flows between them. You observe that no heat flows between P and Q. In this case of M and N, you observe that heat flows. Observe that heat flows between them. So this is your experimentation. You have done some experiment, you have noted your observations. That's good. Now you have to go for the next method. After all, you have done the experimentation. You need to give qualitative and quantitative reasoning. Qualitative and quantitative reasoning. See what is meant by qualitative reasoning antandre, you took two metals M and N. M was heated to a temperature of 50 degrees Celsius and N was heated to a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. You connected them by means of a metal rod. When you connected them by means of a metal rod, heat started to flow between them. Heat started to flow between them, right? Now you have to answer what quality of this metal rod, made heat to flow between M and N. Can you tell me what quality of the metal rod made heat to flow between them? What quality of the metal rod made heat to flow between them? Can you tell me the quality of the metal rod that made heat to flow between them? What quality may be responsible? What quality may be responsible? Yes, very good. That metal rod is a very good conductor of heat, isn't it? That metal rod is a very good conductor of heat. And not only the metal rod, even M and N are metals and even they are good conductors of heat. When heat flows from M through this metal rod and N being a metal, metals are good conductors. Metals are good conductors of heat. The heat that flows through this metal rod will be allowed to flow through N. The heat that flows through the metal rod will be allowed to flow through N because N is also a good conductor of heat, isn't it? So what quality of these objects involved are responsible for flow of heat antandre, all the substances that are involved in this experiment are the metals, and metals are good conductors of heat. So good conductor is the quality that is responsible for flow of heat between M and N, right? This is qualitative reasoning. M ಮತ್ತೆ N ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಯಾಕೆ heat flow ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you must be able to give a reason. ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ರೀಸನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನ್. ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ M ಮತ್ತೆ N ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ heat flow ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. The quality that is responsible for flow of heat between M and N is they are good conductors of heat. Can you now give a reason as to why heat doesn't flow between P and Q? See, this is a metal rod. This is ready to conduct heat. This is ready to conduct heat. This is ready to conduct heat. If heat flows through this metal rod, does that heat enter into this wooden block Q? Does it enter into this wooden block Q? Does it enter into that wooden block Q? ಯಾಕೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು? M and N ಒಳಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, the heat flowed between M and N. N allowed heat to flow through it. Why is this Q not allowing heat to flow through it? ಯಾಕೆ heat flow ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? What do you answer? One thing, wood is a bad conductor of heat. See, brass was a good conductor of heat. Here, wood is a bad conductor of heat. It doesn't allow heat to flow through it. See, this is the qualitative reasoning you are saying about the quality of that substance involved in the experiment. ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಫೆನಾಮಿನನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ you should give two type of reasoning. What is the quality that is responsible for this phenomena, right? What is the quality that is responsible for this phenomenon? That must be told. And also you must give a reasoning in terms of numbers. That is called quantitative reasoning. We will discuss about. Is qualitative reasoning clear? Is the idea of qualitative reasoning clear? After you do systematic observations and experimentation in the laboratory, you must be able to give qualitative reasoning. Is qualitative reasoning clear? If the qualitative reasoning is clear, we will move forward for understanding quantitative reasoning. Okay. Fine. Now try to understand what is meant by quantitative reasoning. Quantitative reasoning antandre nodi. Now I said when I connect two copper blocks A and B, say A is at temperature of 50 degrees Celsius and B is at a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, and connect them by means of a metal rod. A is of copper and even B is of copper. Okay, both are made up of copper. I connect them by means of a metal rod. We know what quality of A, B and metal rod are responsible for flow of heat between them. The quality is known to us. The qualities all are good conductors of heat. You have given the qualitative reasoning. Now you need to answer what amount of heat flows between A and B. Just heat A in the B heat flow ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟು flow ಆಗ್ತದಪ್ಪ? 10 joules heat flow ಆಗ್ತದ, 20 joules heat flow ಆಗ್ತದ, 30 joules heat flow ಆಗ್ತದ, ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. You need to say how much amount of heat flows between A and B. ಎಷ್ಟು heat flow ಆಗ್ತದೆ? 20 joules flow ಆಗ್ತದ, 30 joules flow ಆಗ್ತದ, 40 joules flow ಆಗ್ತದ? That must be told by you. But A and B good conductors, they are connected by metal, which is even a good conductor of heat. Because they are good conductors, heat flows antandre, that doesn't end your discussion. That doesn't end the understanding. After all giving the qualitative reasoning, you must also give the quantitative reasoning. What amount of heat flows between A and B? That must be told by you. That must be told by you. ಎಷ್ಟು heat flow ಆಗ್ತದೆ? 20 joules heat flow ಆಗ್ತದ, 30 joules heat flow ಆಗ್ತದ? ಹೇಳಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ. ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ? Do you think we need to tell this? Do you think we need to tell this, or we should stop at qualitative reasoning? We should stop at qualitative reasoning, or we should even say what amount of heat flows between two bodies? ಆ ನಂಬರ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ? ಈಗ ವಿಂಟರ್ ಸೀಸನ್ ನಾಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚಳಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನೋಡಿ. You feel cold, isn't it, in winter season? Why do you feel cold antandre? Because you say the quality of the surroundings. You speak about the quality of the surroundings. ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? I am feeling cold because the temperature of the surrounding is very less ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ. That's the quality which you are speaking about. You are speaking about the quality of the atmosphere. The temperature of the atmosphere is less ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ. Also you need to say what is the temperature of the atmosphere right now. ಎಷ್ಟದ temperature? 20 degrees Celsius ಅದೇ. The surrounding temperature is 20 degrees Celsius and my body is generally at a temperature of 34 or 35 degrees Celsius. Because the temperature of the surrounding is less than my body temperature, nodri, surrounding temperature is less than my body temperature, the heat from my body is flowing to the surrounding. My body is losing heat. When my body starts losing heat, I start feeling cold. isn't it? ಅವಾಗಷ್ಟೇ ನನಗೆ ಚಳಿ ಆಗೋದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಚಳಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ವೈ ಯು ಆರ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೆಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್. What is the temperature of the surrounding? That must be told by you. The temperature of the surrounding is 20 degrees Celsius. So qualitative reasoning ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, quantitative reasoning ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Is the idea of qualitative reasoning clear at least? Qualitative reasoning the idea clear? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ quantitative reasoning ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ once you have studied a phenomena experimentally and you have given some qualitative reasoning for it, you must also be able to express that phenomena in terms of numbers. Need to express that phenomena in terms of numbers, right? So that can be done. So this qualitative reasoning can be done by what is called as mathematical modeling. ಈ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you must have a mathematical modeling. That means you must have a mathematical formula for calculating what amount of heat flows from A to B. A ಇಂದ B ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೀಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಒಳಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. The quantity of heat that flows from body at higher temperature to a body at lower temperature will be given by Q is equals to KAT T1 minus T2 divided by L ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Using this formula, you will be able to decide what quantity of heat flows between two bodies. Decide ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. K ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is called thermal conductivity of this metal rod. You will be thought about this. A is the area of the contact. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಗೆ what amount of area is in contact with both A and B, that will be deciding the quantity of heat that flows between two bodies. T is the time for which A and B are kept in contact also becomes important. T1 minus T2 is the temperature difference between the two bodies. L is the distance between the two bodies. ಈ ಎರಡು ಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ you will get some values. Say 50 joules ಅಂತ ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you can say that the quantity of heat that is flowing between A and B is 50 joules. Or nodri, you are able to give qualitative reasoning also with the help of this mathematical modeling. Mathematical modeling in the sense you are going to give a formula, mathematical formula for expressing that phenomena in terms of some numbers. Nodri, using this mathematical formula we are able to express the amount of heat that is flowing between two bodies. The amount of heat that is flowing between two bodies is 50 joules, isn't it? Gravitation nagu ನಿಮಗೆ mathematical formula ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, lower classes ನಾವು ಓದಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ, probably the gravitational force between two bodies can be calculated using the formula F is equals to G m1 m2 divided by r square. If this is an apple, and if this is earth, you know the earth attracts apple because of gravitational force. What is the quality that is responsible for this phenomena antandre, what is the quality that is responsible for the earth to attract the apple antandre, the quality that is responsible here is the mass of the objects. Earth has got mass, earthig mass ade, also the apple has got mass. Because both the objects have mass, there is a gravitational force between them. See, mass ade anta heliradenu, this is qualitative reasoning. Because both apple and the earth has got mass, they are attracting each other. This is the qualitative reasoning. What amount of force exists between apple and earth? Apple ಮತ್ತೆ earth ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅದಪ್ಪ? 10 ನ್ಯೂಟನ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅದ, 20 ನ್ಯೂಟನ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅದ, 30 ನ್ಯೂಟನ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅದ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that can be calculated using this mathematical formula, right? ಇದ್ರಾಗೆ G is universal gravitational constant, ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. m1 is mass of the apple, m2 is mass of the earth divided by r is the distance between apple and the earth. ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ನಂಬರ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, 1 ನ್ಯೂಟನ್. This 1 Newton is the quantitative reasoning. There exists a force of 1 Newton between apple and the earth. What quality is responsible for gravitational force antandre? Mass. What amount of force exists between apple and earth ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 1 Newton over. This is regarding qualitative and quantitative reasoning. Am I clear with the ideas of qualitative and quantitative reasoning? Fast ಆಯ್ತಾ ಹೇಳೋದು? ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ, ಆರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾನ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಓದಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. You must follow these methods to understand a phenomena scientifically. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಯಾರೋ ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಂಗೆ, ಕಾಮನ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಂಗೆ ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. In order to understand a phenomena scientifically, you must first systematically observe that phenomena, experiment that again and again in the laboratory, obtain the results, use the results so obtained to explain what quality is responsible for that phenomena and what is the quantity of the phenomena that is taking place, right? The quantity must be expressed. And then you have to construct, in order to give quantitative reasoning, you need to construct a mathematical formula for it. One formula idre ಎಷ್ಟು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ನಾಗ ಈ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಾ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, right? So mathematical modeling is equally important. After all this, after all you have given the mathematical modeling, you must go for verification and falsification. Verification and falsification of the theories. So what you have done is, you have now observed the phenomena, you have experimented, you have given qualitative reasoning, you have given quantitative reasoning, you have constructed a mathematical formula. After all doing this, you have to verify whether all the steps which you have done before are true or not. You have to verify it. ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಆ ಹೀಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋಗೆ, ರೈಟ್? Q is equals to KAT into T1 minus T2 divided by L ಅಂತೇಳಿ you have constructed this mathematical formula. After all you have constructed this mathematical formula, you estimated that the amount of heat that flows between two bodies is 50 joule. You have done this theoretically. See, this is a theoretical formula, right? Idragella substitute ಮಾಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, what is the amount of heat that flows between two bodies? You expected the amount of heat to flow between two bodies is 50 joules. ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ? Now you have to experiment and verify whether 50 joules of heat flows between two bodies or not. Whether 50 joules of heat flows between two bodies or not, that must be verified. If 50 joules of heat flows between two bodies experimentally, you can say that my experiment or my theory is verified. My theory is verified. If 50 joules of heat doesn't flow between two bodies, then what you have said is totally wrong. Probably there may be something wrong in this formula. Experimentally 50 joules flow ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, 100 joules flow ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. But theoretically you said 50 joules should flow. We do not believe in the theories, we believe in the experiments. What you say in the theory must be experimentally verified. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಟ್ರೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವುದೋ ಫಿಸಿಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಟ್ರೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ we say there is no final theory in science. There is no final theory in science, and there is no unquestioned authority. There is no unquestioned authority in science. ಇವ್ನು ನ್ಯೂಟನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನಪ್ಪ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಥಿಯರಿ, ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನ್ಯೂಟನ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೀನ್, ಅವ್ರ ಥಿಯರೀಸ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ. There is no unquestioned authority in science. Remember this. Even Newton has gone wrong in so many theories. Newton proposes a theory regarding velocity of sound in air. According to him, according to his theory, the velocity of sound in air is 280 meter per second. See, this is according to Newton. Newton's theory prakara, the velocity of sound in air is 280 meter per second. But if it is done experimentally, the velocity of sound comes out to be, the velocity of sound experimentally comes out to be 331 meter per second, which is to be accepted. You accept what Newton has said, or what you accept what experimentally is seen. What do you accept? You accept what Newton has said, or you accept what is observed experimentally? ಒಂದು ಥಿಯರಿ ಬರೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನ ವೆರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. If it is true, accept it. If what is said in the theory is experimentally verified, accept that theory. If it is not experimentally verified, falsify that theory. ಅದನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ನಾಗೆ. You will accept what Newton has said, or you will accept what is observed in the experiment. ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ accept ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? Newton ಹೇಳಿದ accept ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಾ? According to Newton, velocity of sound in air is 280 meter per second. But ನಾವು experiment ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ velocity of sound in air comes out to be 331 meter per second. Which do you accept? Which do you accept? Newton ಹೇಳೋಣ, Newton is a big physicist. Newton is a big physicist. Isn't it? Newton is a big physicist. ಅವನು ಹೇಳಿದ accept ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. Science ಒಳಗೆ ಅದಿಲ್ಲ. There is no unquestioned authority in science. There is no unquestioned authority in science. Right? ಇವನು ಹೇಳನೆ ಅವನ್ನ ನಾನು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ. If that phenomena, if that theory is not experimentally verified, question that fellow. Why this is not verified? You need to recheck the theory. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೆ you have to rectify the things, right? So these are the scientific methods. These are the scientific methods which you must follow to understand any natural phenomena in a systematic manner. So I think I am clear with what are scientific methods. So the scientific methods are systematic observation, experimentation, qualitative and quantitative reasoning, mathematical modeling, prediction, verification or falsification of theories. Am I clear with the scientific methods? You wish to know organized or follow ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. First systematic observation, next experimentation, next qualitative and quantitative reasoning, mathematical modeling, verification or falsification of theories. You steps na hige follow ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 1 in the 2, 2 in the 3, 3 in the 4, 4 in the 5. 1 in the 5 ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ. ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಒಂದು ವೆರಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವೆರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನೋ, after you observe you have to perform the experiment. After performing the experiment, think of what quality is responsible for this phenomenon. After you think the quality, after you come to know what quality is responsible for the phenomena, try to write a mathematical formula and try to calculate what quantity of the phenomena is taking place. Next, go for prediction, verification or falsification of the theories, right? And you must remember there is no unquestioned authority in science. ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿದನ್ನ ನೀವು ನಂಬಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ. Can question them, experiment it. If it is experimentally verified, accept those theories. If not, falsify, discard those theories, right? This is what we do in science. This must be the scientific attitude. ನಿಮ್ಮ attitude ಕೂಡ ಹೀಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದನ್ನ ನಂಬಿಡೋದಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತಾ? You need to question them. ಆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್? I think I'm clear. Another doubts on this ಒಳಗೆ? Do you have any doubts? All right. So we'll end this session. We'll continue our discussion again in the next classes. Probably ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ I'll be starting mathematical aid for physics, right? I have told you, when you are studying physics, we will be constructing some mathematical formula. A mathematical formula derive ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ mathematics basics base ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. So from tomorrow I'll be teaching you some of the basics of mathematics that are required to understand physics, right? After that we'll start the actual chapter, units and measurements. Even this is the first chapter involved in NCERT, but this is just an introduction to physics, that's it, right? So ನಮ್ದು actual chapter start ಆಗೋದು units and measurements ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ mathematics basics ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು I'll start that chapter, right? Fast ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತದ ಟೀಚಿಂಗು? is my teaching fast? If so, we'll move it slowly, no problem in that. If you feel it is fast, we can move it slowly. Okay, fine then. We'll continue tomorrow. ಇದನ್ನ ಏನು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅದಲ್ಲ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸಂಡೇ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಡು ನಾಟ್ ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್. ಏನೋ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ನಾಗ 10 ಮಾರ್ಕಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್. ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ದಿಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸಂಡೇ, ರೈಟ್? ಡು ನಾಟ್ ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದಷ್ಟೇ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ವಿಲ್ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸಂಡೇ. ಓಕೆ, see you tomorrow then. See you tomorrow.